When we scatter a lot of points and a lot of objects in Houdini, we quickly end up with a lot of intersections. We could lower the point density, but even with a lower density we still have some intersection, and we could play with the relaxation. It spreads all the objects very evenly. So basically we get the same distance between every object. It's not very natural. Instead, I use simple VEX and we get good density. We can even crank up the density and we get a good density, and we have also more natural placement. We have different distance between all the points, and we can play with the radius to adjust the spacing between the objects. So I will show you how everything is built, so let's get into it. I start with a simple grid with a mountain node. I use an ambient occlusion node, and I remap the CD attribute to create the density and the p-scale with an attribute wrangle. The VEX code is very simple. I just use the red channel of the CD attribute to set the density and the p-scale attributes. Then I just set CD attribute back to 1, set the mesh back to white. But out of this wrangle, the p-scale values are between 0 and 1, and we don't want too small stones, so I use a remap to basically control the lowest value of my p-scale. I use a normal node to create normal attribute at the point level. This attribute will be used by the copy to point to align the stones with the surface. Then I scatter the points and I use the density attribute I created earlier to drive the point distribution. So with the first attribute randomize, I set the operation to multiply, not reset the p-scale values, but modify them to get some control randomness. And I use a custom ramp basically to have a lot of small pebbles, just few bigger ones. With the second attribute randomize, I create a custom attribute that I call rand from -1 to 1, and this one will be used to create some randomness in the y-axis and will be used later in the for each loop with a point expression. So here is the VEX code. Basically, it searches through all the points, check the p-scale, and if there is some other points in the radius of the p-scale, it just kill them to avoid having intersection. So if I uncheck this, here we have all the points. All the points scattered, and the circle represents the p-scale value. So basically the VEX, just for each point, it will search within the p-scale radius to check if there is a point in this radius, and if there is a point within the threshold, it just remove it. So here, if I activate this, if I set the kill radius to 0, basically I got all the points, and if I increase the radius, I start to delete all the points I don't want within a certain threshold. But to make it work, your object has to be normalized. So here in my stone network, here you can see that once I created my stone, I used a matched size with scale to fit to make the stone fit a 1 unit size. But it's a bit different because the circle is just the radius is just a perfect circle, and the stone is not perfect, so that's why I use some sliders to adjust the padding. So now even if I increase the amount. I don't have to bother about intersection no more. Everything will be nice and with a good placement. And even if I change my distribution, I will still get a perfect placement. So the workflow this way is very flexible and easy to tweak without having to tweak the relaxation and the point count and this kind of stuff.
If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can find the VEX code in the description and the Houdini file on my Gumroad page. See you in the next one.